Audi, Immortalium here, and today I'm reviewing Tiger and Bunny. Now, before I start discussing my opinions on this series, I best explain what this series is about. So basically, it's set in a city called Sternbild. The most popular TV show in Sternbild is this reality television show called Hero TV. Hero TV basically has superheroes, and they go off, they fight crime, they arrest baddies, they save people, they earn points for doing this, and at the end of the season, the one with the most points is crowned the King of Heroes. Now, at the same time, they're trying to appease the capitalist side of this program. You know, they have sponsors written all over them, they're used to sell cards, and they're used in advertisements, etc, etc. So, it's very capitalist in that regard. Now, we are introduced to our lead character, Kotetsu Kaburagi. And Kotetsu, he is the superhero Wild Tiger. But Wild Tiger hasn't been doing very well recently. He's been kind of at the bottom of the charts. He's not really moving merchandise. No one seems to like him. So his company, the company he's working for, goes under, and he's moved to another company. And in order to kind of try to rejuvenate his, well, it's not so much to try to rejuvenate his popularity as so much as to make him part of a gimmick. He's paired up with another superhero for the program's first fighting duo, and that is his partner is Barnaby Brooks Jr., who interestingly also has the same superpower as him. Both of them have the power to increase their strength 100 times, but only for 5 minutes, and then they have to wait an hour before they can use that ability again. So that's the premise of the series, and it's kind of like a buddy series at the beginning. In fact, it's a buddy series throughout, but it's more noticeable at the beginning. But in overall, I enjoyed the series a lot. Let me just go into the little details now. So, first of all, characters. Great cast characters. I'll begin by discussing the protagonists. So, our lead two characters, Kotetsu and Barnaby. Kotetsu, he is a fantastic protagonist. He's funny, he's charming, he has a heart of gold, but he's flawed, he's not that great a father. He's a fantastic protagonist. He's also a scene stealer. Like, every time he shows up on screen, he steals the scene. So he is a fantastic protagonist, very well rounded out. Barnaby, for anyone who's seen the series, Barnaby is quite unlikable at the beginning. He has his charms though, and he grows as a character throughout the entire series. But he is downright unlikable at the beginning. But by the end, I was rooting for him. I found him as a great developed character. So he's a good character, I will say. Kotetsu's the scene stealer though. You have the rest of the superheroes. There's 6 others, and they all have their own quirks and little developments, and they're great characters. And there's lots of great characters in this series. I don't think there was any character really that I hated. At the beginning, Barnaby was the most unlikable one, but he developed very well. So it was a great cast of characters. Animation-wise, this series was animated by Sunrise. Sunrise, I have great respect for. They animated Gundam, they animated Code Geass, which I love. They animated a bunch of stuff. They animated this. Now, the character designs are kind of, I wouldn't go so far as to say they're a mixture of Western kind of comic art with anime. They're definitely more anime than anything else. But there is this, how can I put it? There is this kind of injection of kind of American cartoon into them, with maybe the smaller eyes, the brighter colours, etc, etc. It's a great looking series. But one thing I have to commend them for. This probably is, I might regret this now actually after saying this, because I'll probably think of some other series afterwards, but as far as I can tell, this is the best use of CGI I've ever seen in an anime series. A lot of the superheroes Their costumes are CGI'd, and but the way that it's used, like they've used the correct frame rates. A problem I had, for example, with Freedom was that the characters were CGI'd, but they seemed to stick with the old, like 6 frames per second, which anime is generally animated at. But that doesn't suit three-dimensional animation. Tiger and Bunny, for the CGI, they've clearly upped the frames per second on a lot of the CGI elements, and they blended it very well together with, you know, the two-dimensional components of the animation. So, which comes out to me saying that if all anime could use CGI as well as this series does, you know, I'd be far, far happier with CGI efforts. So, Sunrise, you get a thumbs up for me. Now, the storyline. The storyline is interesting to say. It's a very good story. I really enjoyed the story. But it could be better executed. As I said at the beginning of the series, it's this kind of standard buddy show. The characters are kind of grinding against each other, you know. Now, like, several elements get brought in, you know, a main villain, a main organization, etc., etc. Now, but there's 2 problems that I have with this story overall for Tiger and Bunny. One is that it makes a great deal of uses cliches. Now, that's not to say it uses them badly. In fact, actually, I think it uses a lot of the cliches very well, like better than I've seen in most other series. But there's some, how can I put it now? Like, it uses them well, but it makes me cringe a bit sometimes when I see them. Like, you know, even if it's well executed, I'm aware it's a cliche. I'm just trying to think of a non-spoiler example I can give you. Like, okay, for example, there is like, okay, you won't know what I'm talking about, but there's kind of this death scene at one point, and it has the character kind of, you know, going like, you know, he says the name, and then he suddenly shouts it, you know? And, yeah, that just made me cringe a bit. It was well executed, it was very good, that scene, but I knew it was a cliche, and it just, ugh. So I don't know how to say it. It uses cliches well, but I'm aware of these cliches, and it does make me cringe a bit when I see them. And the other aspect of the story that I did not appreciate was the fact that the ending isn't that great for this series. There's a lot of storyline set up. Most of them are wrapped up for the end, but there's 2 main kind of storylines to do with villains that are still not properly wrapped up. And now I'm guessing maybe that it was set up for another series, you know, another season of this series, but they haven't made one yet. Now, I don't know why. There is a cliffhanger at the end of this series. It has been a very successful series, very popular, sold lots of merchandise, it's made lots of money. They've made 2 films to go with it, but as far as I can tell, like, those 2 films don't expand upon the storylines that I'm discussing. So they're just kind of superfluous in that regard. So I don't know. I would love to see another series of this, just to kind of expand upon and resolve those plot threads. It doesn't even need to be that long. I'd say like a 13 episodes season could probably wrap all of this up. So that is disappointing. Now, I watched this in English. The English dub is fantastic. I loved the English dub. I remember when Viz were you know, promoting this, because this was done by Viz, just to tell you. They were promoting this for Neon Alley, you know, as kind of one of the big series for Neon Alley. So they put a lot of effort into this dub, and it shows. The characters are fantastically voiced. Particularly, I just want to point this out, Kotetsu's voice actor, Wally Winbert. He is well known for playing Renji from Bleach, and that's pretty much the only anime role that I can think of off the top of my head. I know he does some other roles in other series, but Renji's the only role I can think of. But he plays Kotetsu fantastically. He plays him charmingly. He plays him, but like a lovable loser at points. He plays him, you know, dramatically, heroically. He is really the standout, and it's something that helped elevate Kotetsu's character even higher than it already was. Now I heard that, you know, the Japanese seiyuu who voiced him is also as good, but I didn't watch in Japanese. The English dub for me. The problem, well, like, I wouldn't go so far as to say it's a problem. It's just kind of a personal issue I had. Barnaby, the voice actor who voices him is Yuri Yawenthal. Now, I love Yuri Yawenthal as an actor. But, okay, listen to this now. If for any of you who know what character Yuri Yawenthal voices in Naruto, you're going to see what this association happens. So, Barnaby comes in. He has only one goal in his life. That is to avenge the deaths of those who were close to him. And it just... And also he's a jerk. He's very, you know, cool. He's very skilled. Far more skilled than Kotetsu. Etc, etc. Kotetsu's jealous of him. The problem is, because of the casting of Yuri Yawenthal, with that kind of character type, I just couldn't get Sasuke out of my head for so long. So, I don't know. Yuri Yawenthal plays him excellently, though. So, even though, like, as I said, he becomes far more likable than Sasuke by the end of the series. But I did have that association. And before I wrap up this review, one thing I also want to point out. Something that I didn't expect a lot of people to have a problem with, but I found out, is the sponsorship of these superheroes. Basically, each superhero has company names written on them, but these are real companies. So a good example of that is Barnaby. On his superhero costume, you know, on one arm, he has Amazon.co.jp. On his front, he has Bandai, etc, etc. These are real companies, it's real product placement. But I don't get that, like, why people are so upset about it. You know, like, normal reality television has tons of product placement. And I think it's very cleverly implemented, you know, like, you would see any race car driver have, you know, tons of product placement over them. So why not, you know, have real companies sponsoring these superheroes, and that gets more money for this TV series and allows it to become more profitable. It means that they can put more money into it and hopefully make another series of it. I don't know. But it's something that I think people were upset by, but I think they shouldn't be as upset with it. That's what I think. So, what are my opinions on this series overall? Wrap up. It is a brilliant series. For me. I had a great deal of fun. It's not perfect though, and I don't want anyone coming into this expecting it to be perfect. It is not a perfect series. But it is a damn fun series, and it's something I would highly recommend. My only faults with it, besides the faults that I've already pointed out, is that if you're in the UK, all you can get is the Kaze versions, which are quite pricey for so few episodes. Now, I got the first box set for free, I got the other box sets at a discount price, so I'm kind of sorted. But for you guys, you know, it's really down to you on whether or not you want to spend so much. I don't think Kaze are going to do a complete series box set for this. So anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and bye-bye.